Welcome to the Health Revolution, the show that leads you to a life of vibrant well-being. In a world full of noisy health trends, we bring you clarity through a sea of fads. We reveal the science behind the strategies that truly work. We explore physical strength, emotional resilience, and mental mastery, the keys to an enriched life. See inspiring interviews with the champions who've conquered life's health challenges. Are you ready to unlock your potential to live with vitality and purpose? Then join the Health Revolution. I'm your host, Adriana Morrison, health and fitness expert, speaker, and a mom who understands. Let's embark on this transformative quest together. If you want to change the game, it all starts now. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Health Revolution. And we're excited that you are joining us today. No matter which way you're tuning into us, please do not forget to hit the subscribe button. We want to stay connected to you. I'm your host, Adriana Morrison, and I'm delighted to see each and every single one of you joining us. At the bottom of your screen, there is a tab for show episode notes. Please be mindful of that because there's some important information about today's episode. And so for new and returning viewers, welcome, of course, today. Hoping your day has been fantastic. Our show is all about all things elevating the physical strength of the human body, the emotional resilience, and then the mental mastery, the keys to truly living the type of life that we inspire to lead. And today's episode I'm excited about because we are talking about all things renewing your energy with Qigong. And of course, if you don't know that is an ancient practice where we are connecting all the way, internal connection with our body, our physical body, our mindset, and taking those tools and really elevating things to new heights. And so if you are unfamiliar with Qigong, we're gonna do a deep dive into that today, and then how we can implement that in our world, in our work life, in our home life, in just taking it where we are to where we truly want to be. I'm excited for you to meet our next guest, but for now, we're going to watch this. Take a look at this. Meet Sandeep Nath. He's a global speaker, author, and founder of the RENEWALism Movement, on a mission to raise human consciousness by reconnecting us to ancient energy practices that still work in our modern world. After a powerful corporate career as a CEO and strategy consultant, Sandeep turned inward, studying in the Himalayas to master inner power and energy flow. Today, he's known around the world as a business Qigong guide, teaching leaders and teams how to overcome burnout, build resilience, and tap into sustainable energy using ancient wisdom. He's coached thousands across 46 cities and 4 continents, and he's not slowing down. Today, we will learn how Qigong can transform your mind, body, and business starting from the inside out. Sandeep Nath, welcome to the show.
Hi, Adriana, that was such a lovely intro. I love you. It's fantastic. Thank you. And
Well,
hello, everybody.
you make quite a grand entrance. You definitely bring the experience and receipts to the table. And I'm curious, take us back to when it all started. How did you know this was the path that you were meant to be on?
Whoa! Interesting, interesting. What's most interesting about that question is that I didn't know that that was the path I was to be on till I was 42. And when I was 42, I was sitting in meditation, and this thought came to me that I have to do something to break free. I always knew that I have this value of freedom. I love freedom. But to teach people how to do that and how to lead their lives in a different state of being. And I got a feeling that that was told to me by my mom. And you know what, Adriana? I went to my mom and checked. Did you say that to me in any shape or form? And she related to me the story when I was in her womb. And literally, Adriana, this may sound strange, but I was given the guidelines for renewal when I was not even born. That's when I knew what I'm here to do and be. And in fact, I've dedicated my book Renewal to mom because she told me this, and there's a story behind that. That my dad was not able to be there when I was born because he was in the government service. He was in the railways, and he was there a week before, and then he had to go back because his leave was running out, and I was a late entry. And he couldn't be back for the next 3 months. I was almost 2.5 when he was there. And that's the time when my mom was talking to me, even before I was born, that look, you don't have to do this. You don't have to be bound by rules. You don't have to be not available for your family. You've got to be there. And the way that you condition your mother in your life and the way you think has to be very, I don't know.
And so I truly believe in that energy of a mother transferring to her child before the child is born. I think there's something incredible to be said about that. And so from the get-go, you were exposed to the mindset per se. What is Qigong? Can you tell our viewing audience, what would you say to someone who has no idea what that is?
Fantastic. That's a brilliant segue to now I'm 42 and I'm exploring what is all this, these thoughts that are coming to me. What is this happening in more advanced states of meditation? I've been meditating 3, 4, 5 years by then. And I discover something that is beyond the mind and body. So we often think of the mind, body, and spirit as a trinity, but we are not connected with it. We're connected a lot with the body. We know every little thing that's going on. You have a pimple on your lip and you can't talk anymore, and all your mind, your attention goes there. But you can't, for example, you can put glycerin here, but you can't do that on your mind. You can't put glycerin on your anger. You can't put a band-aid on your sadness. We have a lesser connection with the mind, and we have the least with spirit. Now, what I was finding is that I was getting more connected with spirit. And that is something that we've known 4,000 years ago. That is, spirit is energy. It's the subtlest form of us. The body is the grossest form. The mind is kind of fluid and like ice and water. Steam is so subtle, it's invisible, but so powerful. Steam is equivalent to spirit, and bringing that steam to work for you to drive your steam engine is what Qigong does for you. So Qigong is a 4,000-year-old practice. Qi means life force energy, and Gang means to work with. The original form of working with energy, it could be worked in many, many ways, various ways. You've got Reiki, you've got access bars, you've got a whole lot of things ever since now the Western world has started discovering it and experimenting with it. But in its nascent form, Qigong is working with energy. And you can imagine if you pass jets of steam through an ice cube, you'd be able to mold the ice cube. Similarly, you'll be able to mold the body. You'll be able to release blocks in the body. You'll be able to cure things like any disease, heart disease, coronary arteries, diabetes. They're all just energetic blocks in a sense when you think about it. That it is that same form of water that solidified, became ice, and now it also evaporated and became steam. And now, because steam is so powerful, I can clean the ice, literally clean it from the inside. I can even boil the water, so I can even clean my emotional baggage and a lot of depression and anxiety and all those kind of modern day disorders. Qigong is the solution. It's the only thing that brings all three in alignment. And when you get them in alignment, when you can start working with energy, oh, life is a lot of fun.
So why does the Western world not why has it taken so long for this to emerge in the Western world? What's your take? And I know that you have traveled and you have spoken in a variety of different stages, but why have we not gotten why have not we stepped up to the game with Qigong as this being a powerful tool to lean on?
That's a great question. And The truth is that Qigong was essentially in China kept secret. This Qi and Gang, these two words are Mandarin. And obviously, Mandarin was a language that came about less than 4,000 years ago. So when they invented the language, they used these two words to represent life force energy. But it was because it was something that was hidden with the monks, with the practitioners. It was a secret practice. And it's only in the last 30, 40, 50 years that the Chinese have started coming to the West. Now, when they started doing that, they brought some of the practices that were infused in their minds through the culture. But the Westerners were more keen to adopt stuff that would be enabling them in building their bodies, in self defense, in martial arts. So, this is a spectrum actually, Adriana. Qigong is the pure energy balance. It's that form where your mind, body, and spirit are aligned. So, you're stress free. But when you work with the mind and move the body in a certain form, that becomes something called Tai Chi, which was what the Shaolin monks developed about 2000 years ago. And Tai Chi, therefore, builds harmony and is a form of self defense. It's a form of fortifying the body. And when you can move that further in certain styles that can move the energy, that's called gung fu, with intensity, the best way, and that's kung fu. So the entire spectrum from qigong to gung fu is what the Shaolin monks developed based on the alignment of qigong practices. And kung fu, Bruce Lee made it very popular, and a lot of kung fu masters are there in the West. Tai Chi is slightly popular because people feel that that's a way to get into health, but Qigong is the real way to stay balanced and healthy. And that's still kept inside. How did I get to know about it? Well, fortunately, the Tibetans came to India. So I learned from Tibetan lamas. And that's where uh, very few people in India know about it also. But that's where I got it from.
Who were you when you first started practicing qigong?
Uh, 15 years ago, I was 43.
Okay. And of course, you, with your background and in business, you obviously were helping to lead companies, groups, and all of that. What was life like at the time before you fully stepped into qigong?
Okay, so 2010, that was what, 15 years ago. So I was around 40 to 43. That's when I left my company to the other directors and headed out to the Himalayas. And that's where I encountered the Tibetan monks. And that's where this journey started. And the fun fact I was about to tell you was that I was looking a lot older than I do today, 15 years ago. So one of the byproducts, the side effects of a qigong practice, working with energy, is that it cleans you. My skin is better, my weight is less, and all of that. Uh, when I started practicing this, and when we were doing this for about 4 or 5 years, around 2016 is when my wife and I decided that we've got to teach more people about this, and we love to travel. So that's when we started doing these workshops. And like you rightly said, because we have this corporate background, we were able to do workshops with companies and show how team productivity is improved, how personal performance is improved. You're more engaged, you're more alive, you're less absent, you're less sick, and you generally have a lot more fun with yourself. So those things are good to see both in groups, in companies, as well as with individuals, as we were doing it all through.
Okay, so now you've got me curious. When you and your wife started doing this and started traveling together, was she embracing qigong at the same time, or what? How did that conversation look? Because sometimes, and I bring this up, sometimes couples, someone has one of the two has that moment where they want to embrace. And so, what allowed you to have that conversation where both of you were on board to do something that maybe you hadn't done before?
Right. That's a lovely lead-in to where I met my wife. I met her in the monastery. So I met her in 2010, and we were travelers. This was her second trip to India. The first trip, she suffered India. And I tell you, India is very easy to suffer because it's such a contrast to the Western world, and you're just not prepared for it. But when she was going around with me, and then we were doing these Qigong practices and learning mindfulness and all the Tibetan Buddhist practices and a lot of things, we were totally aligned, and that's what got us together. So we were doing this together from that point of view. But what she did in parallel, Adriana, is that she discovered that she can really have fun in India. And she knew what's the difference between suffering it and enjoying it. And so she set up a company to guide people from the West to India, a travel advisory, which sets up everything and gets you to know what to expect in terms of food, what to expect in terms of attitude. And, right from the time you get out of the airport, there's so much noise, heat, dust, it can overwhelm you. But to not overwhelm you and make you an observer enjoying it like a video game, that's the word she used. You get into the video game right out of the airport. That's what she started doing. And for the last 10 years, she had been running this travel advisory. So, as part of the advisory, then we were doing these retreats also within India because a lot of foreigners were interested in this Qigong practice. And we were having a whale of a time. We're still having a whale of a time, except that she passed away last year. So now I'm having a whale of a time with her spirit form.
Well, I love that. That's a sweet story that, that she had that open mind and open heart to look at it from a different angle.
Right.
And I think that a lot of times in marriages, and then with those who you're involved in, when you introduce a practice or you introduce a new way of embracing something, it can feel overwhelming. And so then I know you bridge not only the personal but also in the business sector. Can you touch on what was your breakthrough to really introduce this to those in the business world that could benefit from Qigong?
So, you see, my wife was also, she had done her MBA and she was an entrepreneur from Mexico. So, we knew the business applications of this and we aligned with that. But we didn't deliberately take it because we wanted to travel and we could do these workshops in that B2C mode, direct to customers. But when we got on to starting up the renewalism movement, which was a couple of years ago, that's when we thought that we got to use these practices and all of the habits that are called the renewalism habits, how those habits can change us, how those habits can be measurably improving personal performance and team productivity. And so we developed an app for measuring resilience and burnout and all of that. And so that's when we really took it to companies. And we're still in the process of doing that because companies are unfortunately giving a lot of lip service to well being and wellness and happiness. And what we're talking about is long term. And companies want short term programs, quick fixes. But we want to change habits. We want to create conscious cultures. And now that, like I said, she passed away last year, so I'm doing it for both of us, and we just focus on the companies now more than the B2C, the direct to customer programs. So that's the fun part.
So we've got a lot more to cover, including renewalism. But first, we're going to take a commercial break. Stay right there. We're coming back.
So in the calm bag, it has GABA, theanine, and taurine. So theanine, which is B1, which is also in our B complex, but it also helps with the stress response levels. It also helps with the neurological transmitters in our brain. Combined with the GABA, and then you add taurine to it. Taurine is a non-essential amino acid in our body, but it's found in our heart, our brain, and our eyes. So in my personal opinion, it's very essential in our lives. But taurine has a calming effect as well. When I was battling all my AFib issues, I was taking high doses of taurine because that would help with my AFib. It would help with the palpitations I was having. And it also helped with the anxiety of having the palpitations because I knew what was going on. And so taurine helps a lot with that as well. So those three together create such a wonderful concoction that just really just calms people down.
Introducing Launchpad, the perfect partner to help you launch your dream project to the world. We know that time is of the essence, and we're here to help you make the most of it. With Launchpad, you'll get access to the most advanced digital tools and strategies to take your idea from a mere concept to a fully fledged success. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur or a seasoned pro, we have everything you need to make your mark in the world. Launchpad, your ultimate launch partner.
Welcome back, everybody. Today we're talking about renewing your energy with Qigong. Our guest today, Sandeep Nath, he is bringing the receipts. He is the CEO and founder of RENEWALism, and we're going to dive deep into that in this segment. Sandeep, before the break, you talked about how you've worked with companies and you've seen how companies just really struggle with, they want the quick return, the quick ROI in everything that they do, but then for the long-term effect, this is definitely a benefit to support their workforce. Can you talk to us, what is renewalism exactly, and how do we begin to understand the connection in the workforce, in the business world?
Thank you. So I'll have to take you back 20 years. Here I was running this consulting company, stressed out, on the verge of burnout, headed for, well, I actually got into a divorce. So when I left for the Himalayas in 2010, it was post-divorce. And, you know, not a good state of being. And what I found, and like I was telling you, I was overweight, and I've just been getting younger and younger since 2010 every year. So what I found was that why I was getting stressed is I was doing things in connivance, let's say, with the way that the corporate systems are designed, and a lot of them are designed with not as much consciousness, as much ethics, as much sustainability planning as is desirable for human happiness. And which is why over the last 20 years we've seen stress going up like crazy, hospitals coming up everywhere, and I could foresee that happening. In fact, one of the hospital chains was a client of mine, and I knew their business plans, and that did not make me happy. So that's where it started. I knew we had a problem. I knew I didn't want to be part of the problem, but I didn't have a solution. Now, when I was sitting in Mexico in 2019, I didn't have much to do because my wife was redoing the house. And suddenly this word popped into my head, renewal. And I started writing. And I had written a book before, so I was used to writing, but I just kept writing. And in 40 days, I had 240 pages on the computer. I didn't know what I was writing the moment I was writing it. And when I was sitting and editing it, I discovered that these are habits. These are habits to renew ourselves, the body, mind, spirit alignment, which my wife and I had been practicing for about 10 years by then. But they're also habits for symbiotic renewal, which is renewal of our relationships with each other, with the planet, with everything we're symbiotically connected to. And systemic renewal, which is about renewing the systems that have stopped serving us, but we've been so busy to notice. For example, some of the things that were channeled to me there were telecommuting, homeschooling, looking at online as a means. And I was sitting and editing this, folks, in February, March, when suddenly, bam, the lockdowns came in. And I found that a lot of systemic renewal, which ought to be designed over 3, 4, 5 years, is being done in 3, 4, 5 weeks. And that's why everybody's so stressed. And today we are about 3, 4, 5 years post-pandemic, and we still haven't figured out the hybrid working equations and the costs of real estate and all of that. Because this is to be done by design. This is to be done by a way that the companies look at their systems, processes, look at the engagements, the purpose. How does the organizational purpose and the individual KPI align with each other? And the people, how do the people get rejuvenated hour by hour? Whether it's 10 a.m. or 10 p.m., you've got to be in the same state of energy. And that's possible through self renewal, symbiotic renewal, and systemic renewal. So, bringing people, purpose, and process aligned is what we do. And that's something that became a mission mode post pandemic, because during the pandemic, one was doing these workshops, masterclass, or whatever you call them, online. But I really wanted to see the results coming in a homogeneous environment where teams are working together and we can measure it. Like I said, we've got an app for it to measure pre and post 3 months how a team has changed in terms of its innovative ability, its client retention, its various parameters. I've got 7 problems we've identified: A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It's attrition, belonging, detailing, engagement, frauds, and ghosting. So much of ghosting happening, people falling sick and not coming around. Everybody's blaming Gen Z and this and that and all sorts of things. But basically, it's the human being, the person, the people inside us that are not connecting. So you want to solve the A, B, C, D, E, F, G of your organization, then you create a conscious corporate culture using renewalism habits as the platform. And we've got this global wisdom workforce that executes this around the world, and we do it online, so that it's scalable, so that monkey see, monkey do. If I can do it sitting in Delhi and somebody can do it sitting in Paris, for you sitting in Manhattan or in Manila, then you know that you, as an empowered leader, renewalism is now a movement. So it's not a business. I want to empower you. The global wisdom workforce wants to empower your teams so that they can empower their teams in Paris, in Guanajuato, in El Salvador, wherever. And
So
that's how the movement
are
grows.
what are teams, what are companies, CEOs, those who are at the top, senior management, what are they missing? What are the signs of stress and burnout that maybe are super subtle within those who are part of a company that they're trying to, it is their career? What are some indicators of stress and burnout that the top brass are missing?
Well, the sad truth is they're not missing it. They are overlooking it, often because it's not a priority. Often because our relationship, two-way relationship, the employee with the company and the company with the employee, has got too transactional. We have lost that relationship. So we're looking at working in cold blood, and that's a very poor performing culture. But that's how organizations are looking at day-to-day operations from a lens of what's profitable. Can we lay off this person? Can we replace this person? And the person is also looking at it, well, as long as they give me a salary, that's my total engagement in the company. If I get less, or if it's difficult to get, I'm leaving, I'm going somewhere else. And so in a transactional environment, in a transactional culture, there is nothing that is being missed. It's just overlooking the way that companies can scale naturally using ethics and sustainability as the propellers for this. So, changing that propulsion comes from reevaluating your people, purpose, process, connectivity. And that's what we start organizations on. At a board level, we want to work with organizations that start getting this picture. And typically, they would be organizations that are small, looking to scale, because once you start scaling, it's very difficult and expensive to backtrack. But when you're about 200, you can do that.
So how do CEOs and those who are top of the company, how do you get them to stop and pause and realize that there's an emotional connection? How do you get them to pump the brakes and say, oh, okay, maybe I haven't been paying attention to this, how this impacts the company or the department? Or what is their aha moment?
Okay, so I'm going to pin you there and ask you a few questions. Adriana, would you agree that by about 35, 40, 45 tops, if you as the CEO have achieved what you wanted to, you might have one of two things in your mind. One, if stress or burnout or something like that, if difficulties, family time has been on the way, you start wondering whether that was the price to pay. And two, if that's not happening, you're really rolling along, you start wondering, well, I'm successful here, what next? Right?
Yes. Yes. True. That would be my thought process. Yes.
That is where this book comes in. It's called The Emptiness of Success. And this book is for that millennial CEO today to understand. The first chapter, first title is I'm successful but not happy. Why? That was me 20 years ago. Very successful as a business consultant, running this company and all of that. But I was getting this feeling inside that I'm part of a problem. There's a consciousness deficit. And I was looking for that wisdom to be filled in, which finally I found in the Himalayas with that connection with spirit, which takes us back to how can we connect with spirit at our homes? How can we do it uh, as a habit practice, which renewal talks about? Qigong is two habits: a personal self renewal habit as well as a symbiotic renewal habit, because when you do it with community, maybe with your family, maybe in your colony, maybe with your team, maybe as an organizational practice, maybe in hospitals. I've seen that in China when I was there, and in Singapore for that matter, that a lot of groups combine Western medicine practices, patient groups, Western medicine practices with the Qigong practices, and doctors are reporting that their resilience is more, their rejuvenation is faster, there is better cellular recovery. And that's just because, remember, the steam is going through your veins, literally.
So that was so taking it back to the Himalayas when you spent time there. How much time were you there? How long were you there for?
Well, initially I was there for a few years. That's when, like I said, I met my wife who had come down from Mexico, and then we had been in and out all the time. I mean, that's my default place. I was in Ladakh as of August this year. So when, when you find me nowhere else, you'll find me in the Himalayas.
So that was your intentional pause that you took, that you stepped away from the life that you knew as a CEO and running your company. And so then transitioning that, how do you, so when companies or if someone's working for a company and they're, when you think of how it's being run, how do you symbolically get them to pause? What are some steps that allow them to rethink how they're approaching things instead of things being driven by profits and how do we cut costs and cut, even perhaps cut corners? How do you, what is some of the effective ways that you get them to pause and have that moment similar to what you had in the Himalayas?
It's a very practical question. You ask wonderful questions, Adriana. Guys, do this. No, it's really nice because I can do something with all of us now. See, what I'd like to do is habit number 2 of self renewal, which is about taking an intentional pause by habit. Now, you can't suddenly walk away from your life the way I did. Very few people can. I was sick up to here and I didn't want that life. And like I said, I got a divorce and all of that. So I was looking for that consciousness change. But when you connect with spirit on a day to day, hour to hour basis, and we're going to do it right away, you will start seeing that change coming and you will start seeing intuition developing. You will start seeing a lot of subtle improvements in the way your mind and body behave. So let's just take 30 seconds doing this. Let's breathe in for 5 seconds and breathe out for 5 seconds 3 times. Right? Let's breathe in together. 2, 3, 4, 5. Fill the belly fully. And 3, 4, 5. Push the belly in so everything comes out. Breathe in again. All the way pressing the diaphragm, and the belly comes out. And then pushing the belly in, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then a third time, 2, 3, 4, 5. And out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Feel yourself. Just, just observe yourself. Exactly. Physically you are more relaxed, you're oxygenated better by conscious awareness. So your lungs are saying thank you. Every capillary suddenly felt you because you've expanded your lungs so much that you press the diaphragm down and the belly came out because there's a rib cage in front of it. Usually you don't even feel that your belly is flat. But when you belly breathe consciously every hour, takes 30 seconds, it rejuvenates your body. It gives you a pattern interrupt for your mind. Your overthinking mind, bam, suddenly for 30 seconds you're not thinking anything else except where your breath is. You can't be. You do it for a minute, 2 minutes, you'll be all over the place. But 30 seconds you're very focused on that breathing. And like they say, the breath holds the mind on a leash. And the spirit is calmer. And every hour, if you can set an alarm on your mobile phone, do this, or after every project, take a break, breathe 30 seconds. That pause will get you into a habit of pausing. You will not need the alarm after 3 days, and you will suddenly find that this is giving you an energy reset, an energy boost. And by 7 in the evening, if you're going back home at that time, you're ready to play with your kids or do something productive, whatever you do, in a much better state of mind, body, and spirit.
What
That
are
pause is going to translate into a pause that will give you a lot more realization as you go along with it.
what are some industries that you've noticed could definitely benefit? I'm sure they all can. But what are some that are more taxed by the stress and the burnout and the grind where it's extreme or it feels super intense? What are some industries that you've noticed are just needing this that you've worked with?
Great, because not only I have worked with the entire global wisdom workforce, which is currently seven of us around Europe, UAE, and India. We have found that through our own personal experiences of working with these companies, that companies in the services sector, cubicle oriented organizations, BPOs, ITES companies, finance, insurance, those types, hotels, hospitals, these companies have high stress and low respite. And as opposed to manufacturing or conveyors or outdoors or nature, tourism, those kind of things, no. The service industries, cubicle oriented, are the ones where we can positively show results from this activity in weeks.
And and when I think about this, obviously, someone who's watching this and maybe is part of a bigger company, what are some other practices that they could do to stay aligned with themselves, to stay grounded, even if the environment around them is not aligned with that thinking? If it's just hustle and bustle, what can they do to at least ground themselves and keep moving forward?
I'm going to share a secret which I wish I knew much earlier, and that's a habit called G24, where G stands for gratitude. Two is the numeric, it's not the numeric two, it's the TO2, and four is FOR. And we've got to learn how to make that habit switch. Every night, if you can think of three things that hustled for you, that didn't go right for you, that you felt uh, were not fair, things happened to you, just flip it in your mind how it could be for you. Because sometime, sooner or later, you got to realize that blessing in disguise thing, that silver lining thing comes in. And maybe 3 months later, you realize, oh man, that thing that happened to me was not so bad after all. I was fired from my job, but then I started making videos, and in 3 months, I've suddenly become a coach or something like that. We hear these stories all the time. Now, when you realize 3 months later or 3 years later that it was good for you, if you get into the habit of seeing what could be good for you in real time, I mean, if you get into the habit of doing that consciously every day, soon you will get to do it in real time. and then those things will stop bothering you. Because suddenly something goes wrong and you can see what's good about it for you and be grateful for it. That's what the G is for. A little word of gratitude brings the blessing in the moment. The blessing is not in disguise anymore. And you're always blessed.
We hear the word gratitude a lot, and that holds some incredible weight. We're going to take a commercial break. We were coming right back. Stay right there.
Welcome to Renew Laser and Skincare, where beauty meets technology. From laser hair removal and anti-aging treatments to facial sculpting, acne care, and injectables, our expert team helps you look and feel your best with customized, results-driven care. Located in Littleton, Colorado, we offer a comfortable, welcoming space and cutting-edge treatments tailored just for you. Visit RenewLaserandSkincare.com to book your transformation today. Renew Laser and Skincare, where confidence begins.
Hi, I'm Adriana. Welcome back to Fit Bites. Today, let's dive into something that keeps your brain sharp: memory and cognitive exercises. Just like our bodies, our brains need regular workouts to stay strong and agile, especially as we age. Start with something simple: word puzzles and brain games. Crosswords, Sudoku, and apps designed specifically for brain training are excellent ways to keep your mind active. These challenges help to improve your memory, problem-solving skills, and mental flexibility. Learning something new is another powerful tool. Whether it's picking up a new language, mastering a musical instrument, or even trying a new hobby, challenging your brain with new information helps to create and strengthen neural connections. Socializing is also key. Engaging in meaningful conversations with friends or participating in group activities stimulates your mind and keeps your cognitive functions sharp. Don't forget about physical exercise. Activities like dancing, yoga, or even a brisk walk can enhance brain function by boosting blood flow to the brain and reducing stress. Mindfulness and meditation are great for improving focus and memory. Spend a few minutes each day practicing deep breathing or guided meditation to clear your mind and improve your cognitive health. Remember, keeping your brain active is just as important as keeping your body fit. Make these exercises a part of your daily routine and enjoy a sharper, more resilient mind. Stay tuned for more Fit Bites with Adriana. Welcome back, everybody. We've been spending quality time with our guest today, Sandeep Nath. He is the founder of RENEWALism. And Sandeep, I'm curious about something. How do you blend the traditional, the ancient wisdom practices with modern business demands for your clients?
Okay. So I do it very similar to what you were saying in the Fit Bites just now, because many of them, by the way, are renewalism habits, and they bear their proof of concept or proof of having worked for thousands of years. So it's not like ancient Eastern wisdom is anything woo woo or based on constructs that are totally alienated from the modern world. It's just that we've forgotten to incorporate them as as stuff to do every day. So I was so happy seeing that little video of yours, because when you talk about there were so many things that I said, well, that's a habit, exercising, sleeping right, and all of that. Now, doing that in a manner that is replicable is the key, because it's very important to understand that anything that grows into a movement is something that everybody feels I can do. And essentially, if it's in a book, people can refer to it. So, like Alcoholics Anonymous, so it's a book. The Bible, for God's sake, is a book, and so it becomes a movement that can be passed on. And that's what we're hoping to do with the renewalism movement as well, where people can take ownership of it and literally hijack it and believe that all those fit bites of theirs are aligning, they're sort of coalescing with the overall strategic plan of bringing not only the mind and body but even the spirit in alignment.
One point, we've got a couple slides for our viewing audience. The first one here that we're going to pull up, I do want to talk about inner power with Sandeep real quickly. Talk about how you help others discover their inner power with Qigong.
Thanks. So, just about 4 or 5 years before the pandemic, we were traveling all over the world. We did these workshops for developing inner power, body, mind, spirit alignment across 4 continents. But during the pandemic, then I put them in the form of programs. So I've got a number of programs at innerpowerwithsandeep.com. And this particular program that you're showing here, thank you for showing that, is the one for, it's called the Inner Power Intensive. And it's for aligning the body, mind, and spirit through a daily routine of Qigong. So it's a set of practices that you can compact into 21 minutes. And that kind of replaces your gym time or your walk time or your yoga time or whatever you're doing, because you get to do the body and mind with spirit. So gym is just body, yoga is mind and body, and this is body, mind, and spirit. And it's very gentle practices, and you can read more about that on that page. And there are two programs here: one for connecting with the outer energies and bringing them in, and the second for cleaning inwards. So that's the inner elixir, which really puts you in a state of great energy and shape all the time.
Inner Power Intensive, fantastic. And then let's show our audience the other tool that you have, the Renewal Tourism. Talk a little bit about this.
So this is not a tool. This is, in fact, something to honor my wife, because she had set up these networks all over India where people could enjoy India. And when she was ailing and when she passed away, we've not been doing much with that. But when we discovered that this renewalism movement, creating conscious cultures, is getting a little bit of resistance, because people want quick solutions, like you were saying.
Yes.
We thought, let's give them a quick solution by bringing them to India, because in the last 10 years, where we've always had foreigners coming, they've always gone back transformed. The flow, the energy, the experience at the airport, and the change of perception as a consequence gets you to understand how different things can be, and still you can be in harmony with them. When you see the vehicles moving in India, for example, chaos but no accidents, it's a huge learning. And that, combined with the retreat for a week to literally bring your body, mind, spirit together, is what we call renewal tourism now. So it's not medical tourism, it's not wellness food tourism, it's not spiritual tourism. And we're just out with this for the first year now, looking at senior leadership coming, so that when they go back, they have been immersed in an experience that they can share with their teams and get them to transform in the same way without having to travel all the way. So the senior leadership sort of rewarded by traveling to India, and the rest of their teams, they adopt the renewalism program and get into embracing the habits of following themselves online.
Well, there's no doubt that India has the mystique about it, and so many people do talk about being transformed after that. They see things differently after visiting India. So this is definitely a powerful way to get grounded and get connected. And of course, for our viewing audience, feel free to grab these QR codes and check this out. We are taking a quick commercial break. We are coming right back. Stay right there. Welcome back, everybody. We've been talking about renewing your energy with Qigong. Our guest today, Sandeep Nath, he has been diving deep into all elements of how we can embrace this and take this and add this and apply this to different aspects of our life, including specifically in our career, the workforce, all of that. Sandeep, where can we find you in the virtual space?
SandeepNath.com. As simple as that.
Yes, and then also, where else in social media? Where else can we find you in social media?
I'm on LinkedIn, and I use the name Renewal for that, RENEWALism, because we also have a company page, RENEWALism, and my own page is, instead of calling it Sandeep Nath, there are thousands of Sandeep Naths in India. Just use the handle RENEWALism for this one. On Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, it's always Sandeep Nath Talks. So I have the same handle for all three of them. I'm most active on LinkedIn and WhatsApp.
Well, it makes sense because you are connecting with so many executives and those who are really forging a path in their career, and those who lead teams and lead companies and organizations. And where can we find you as the new year is beginning and it's around the corner? Where can we what are some things that you have coming up in 2026?
Well, I'm going to bring the new year in a retreat center in the south of India. And I'm looking forward to a lot of activity in this coming year with creating case studies of organizations that are adopting the renewalism habits and then empowering their leaders. There may be travel involved because I love to do it, although we'll execute everything online. And I'm looking at renewal tourism taking off because that is something that's very close to my heart, and it's going to be really good for anybody attending. So a lot of fun.
Fantastic. Well, Sandeep Nath, it's been incredible to have you here and just be able to talk to you about all of how this can be applied to our life and how we can take this going forward. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. It is absolutely awesome having this conversation. Thanks a lot, Adriana.
And we want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors. Without their support, we love their support. Biomed Mobile IV, Dapper No Code Launchpad, Renew, Laser and Skincare, and Synergize Fitness. And of course, we are also on the web. So for our viewers, our website is thehealthrevolutiontv.com. There you can sign up for our newsletter. You can also email us with any show episode ideas. Upper corner of your screen, you'll find our QR code if that's easier for you to grab. And then, as always, you can count on us to be there for you every Tuesday and Thursday, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern on the Orion TV channel, on E360 TV, and all the major distribution handles. That is all the time that we have for today. Until next time, take care of yourselves. We will see you soon.